Welcome everyone to Half History Will Travel. I am your host, the Wilder Historian, and I wanted to do a quick video about an event that occurred in a Kentucky regiment in which the famous diarist Johnny Green was a part of. His diary is an amazing account of the Civil War, and I wanted to read one excerpt from it involving a few hogs that were captured at Vicksburg in the summer of 1862, a year before its capture by Union forces. Our brigade reached Vicksburg June 30th, 1862. Grant was assembling a force to capture Vicksburg. On July 2nd, the fleet of mortar boats opened their fire on the city and kept it up steadily until the evening of July 25th. Every few minutes they would fire a shell both night and day, and at 4 different times they let loose all their guns at once, and then it would be a literal hail of shot and shell. The wonder was that the town and all of us were not utterly annihilated, but for nearly 1 month we watched day and night, lying on the hills and in the streets of Vicksburg to guard against a surprise. We expected Grant to attempt to land from the fleet and carry the town by assault, for his force was 3 times as ours. But he tried to dig a ditch opposite Vicksburg, which would carry the waters of the Mississippi through a shortcut on the other side of the river, and thus let him march against us on dry land. But this ditch did not work, so he abandoned the first siege of Vicksburg. Considering the fact that we were for nearly a month under continuous fire, we lost but few killed and wounded. I think it was somewhat due to the fact that they were mostly mortar shells, and as they go first way up in the air and are only destructive as they come down, they have not as many chances to kill a person as when a cannon or rifle ball comes skimming along just above the ground, so if it misses one, it has the chance to hit the other. But those mortar shells were almost as big as a flour barrel, and that is what the boys would call them as they would hear them coming. When they would burst in the air and come singing down hunting for you, every fellow would want to dodge it, for it sounded just as though it was coming for him. Or if it struck the ground before it exploded, it would actually dig a hole that you could bury a horse in. But we got used to it, and many diversions were invented to amuse us. 1/3 of the command was on lookout all the time, but the others would be either sleeping, cooking, or romping. One day the boys captured 2 hogs, which had been left to hunt for their own living, and while they would do for a soldier to eat, they were as lean as a racehorse, and the boys got up a race between them, with a rider astride the back of each. Several men held each hog until the rider firmly seated on the hog's back and holding fast to his ears. When the word was given to start, off they started and cheers went up to applaud the riders. This set loose several of the Yankee guns, and one flour barrel shell came right down in our midst, fortunately striking no one but scattering dirt over hogs, riders, and everybody, and scaring the hogs so that their pace was increased to a frantic gait. But one threw his rider and escaped. Charlie Edwards' steed headed directly toward a bluff 50 feet high, and all our combined efforts could not stop him or change his course, and he and his gallant rider pitched head foremost over this bank, landing in a deep hole at the bottom. Poor Charlie's back was broken, and he died in a few minutes, but the hog was unhurt until he was slaughtered and eaten by Charlie's mess. This cast a gloom over all, but soon we learned that the Yankees were preparing for a night attack upon the lower water battery, which was 3 miles away, and we fell into line and marched to its defense, leaving the infirmary corps to bury poor Charlie Edwards. The attack on the water battery, however, resulted in nothing but a midnight bombardment, which was beautiful to behold, but a little bit scary as they had our range perfectly. I hope you all enjoyed this fun and at the end, tragic account of some soldiers simply trying to break up the monotony of soldier life. Too many times we focus on the horribleness of battle and forget that soldiers spent most of their time in camp, waiting. They would drill, perform necessary duties, but most of these men were in their late teens and 20s, and they would find all kinds of things to do, and this is just one example. Thank you all so much for watching. Please consider supporting the channel on Patreon, purchasing a t-shirt from the Teespring store, and sharing the video to get the word out about the channel. Thank you all and have a great day.
Historian, historian, where do you roam? Historian, historian, far, far from home. Have history will travel reads the card of a man, a professor with knowledge in the hard land. To educate the world is his mission. A professor of fortune is a man called historian. historian.